the Bhakra Dam water level is continuously rising in Punjab, a state which is now several districts of which are completely underwater. Reports coming in, all 4 floodgates of Bhakra have now been opened up to 8 feet. Punjab flood toll has reached 37. All schools and colleges now have been shut in Punjab till the 7th of September. 3.5 lakh people affected, 20,000 people evacuated in the worst floods in 37 years. I want to go straight across to Aman Bhardwaj, our reporter who's joining me live from Firozpur in Punjab, one of the worst affected areas. Give us a sense of what's happening at the moment. We are told that the Bhakra Dam itself is now in danger of reaching a stage where water could cross a danger mark. The water levels have continuously risen. What does this mean at the moment for Punjab there, Aman?
See, Rajdeep, Bhakra Nangal Dam has a danger mark of 1680 feet, and the level today has reached till 1678. So it was 2 feet less than the danger mark. Though Bhakra Nangal Dam is managed in a way that still on the danger mark, it has 5 to 10 feet margin. So it's not it's not to be worried so far. But yes, the way the Punjab is dealing with floods, it do concerns. It make concerns for the administration, for the people, because the water in Bhakra that's coming through the Satluj is 90,000 cusic, and the water release from the Bhakra is also 60,000 cusic. The level the Satluj is flowing is also concerning, and 8 feet floodgates being opened. All the 4 floodgates being opened till 8 feet, and it will raise the water level in coming hours. Next 10 to 12 hours is more concerning for Harike here, which touches the Firozpur area, because here also in Harike, where the water barrage is there on Satluj, and and Satluj merges here in Harike. So here the water is releasing at more than 3 lakh cusic. So it is concerning for the people, because here near around villages are being asked to vacate the place. People are asked to move to the safer place. The villages near the Satluj river, near the Bhakra area, are being asked to move to the safer place. And also
Aman, I'm just going to stop you, because it's not just Punjab. Across North India, what we are seeing is heavy flooding of a kind that has not been seen in decades. This is the highest rainfall in the last 4 weeks, between the middle of September now to the from the middle of August to the first week of September, that North India has seen in decades. Several of the rivers are in spate, especially in Punjab. But the Yamuna in Delhi is also now reaching the danger mark, and we've already seen in Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir repeated cloud bursts. What is the situation on the ground across North India? Our reporters have fanned out for this special report. Take a look.
Monsoon fury has unleashed chaos across North India. What were once rivers of life have now turned into raging threats. From the fertile plains of Punjab to the hills of Himachal and the valleys of Kashmir, nature's wrath is everywhere. Punjab, the land of 5 rivers, is now submerged. From Gurdaspur to Barnala, entire villages lie drowned, fields swallowed whole. Rooftops have turned into rafts. Desperation rides the floodwaters. Rescue and relief operations are in full swing, but thousands of villages are waterlogged, hectares of farmland destroyed, and lakhs displaced from their homes.
Car being towed away, especially from waters right here. Difficult moments for people ये बताइए लगातार बारिश से कितनी दिक्कतें आ रही हैं खास तौर पे?
परेशानी जो है अपना बेड बूट सारे डूबे पे हैं लोगों का। पिछले बार भी बरसात हुआ सीगा उसमें लोगों का लाखां का नुकसान हुआ जी।
Chief Minister Bhagwant Maan visited flood-hit areas and took stock of the situation where he couldn't hold back his tears. The tragedy unfolding on ground has left many shaken. Himachal Pradesh is drowning in its own tears. The hill state, battered by relentless rain, has officially declared itself disaster hit. In Jammu and Kashmir, rivers are rising fast. The Bhadarwa and Riyasi regions are witnessing flash floods, and the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway has been shut down due to heavy rainfall. From the plains to the peaks, North India is reeling. The monsoon, once a promise of life, has now become a force of devastation. Bureau Report, India Today.
Other big breaking news that's coming in, and it's really the top political economy story of the day. There is a showdown going on at the big GST Council meeting, the Goods and Services Tax, where all the finance ministers of the country have gathered. It comes against the backdrop of the promise made by the Prime Minister for major GST reforms and a big Diwali gift that the Prime Minister promised in his Independence Day address. Remember, the big likelihood is that this meeting could see a fresh two-slab structure of 5% and 18% on most goods. But we are now told that opposition ruled states in particular are seeking a protection for any loss in revenue as a result of these GST reforms. Sources saying the states are seeking a compensation plan to be put in place. Some BJP states also are looking at a potential revenue loss. So will we see, as some are hoping, the major GST reforms that could in a way have a dramatic impact on the economy and indeed on the prices of consumer goods? I want to first go to Aishwarya Paliwal, who's tracking that meeting. Aishwarya, there's much talk that from the 5th of September, the country will have new GST rates, in particular that a broad consensus could still be evolved at this meeting. What are you picking up?
Well, Rajdeep, there are two things. I'll quickly make both those points. First and foremost, the government is very, very clear, and this is something which even the opposition states are agreeing to, that the slabs need to be simplified. We do not need 4 slabs. 2 slabs are enough, and then for the sin goods, 40% is what the GST Council at the moment is looking at. So that's where the opposition states and the BJP ruled states, along with the centre, they are on the same page. But what they are not on the same page is with regards to the compensation. Now, most of the opposition ruled states believe that there will be a loss to the revenue that the states have been making. They are now asking for an assurance, in fact, even a draft, a rough plan of how the compensation will happen. This is something, Rajdeep, let me tell you, which is on the minds of not just the opposition ruled states, but even some BJP ruled states at the moment are looking at the GST Council, speaking with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and asking her to at least come up with a compensation plan. The government is also understanding that there could be a little bit of an offset, there could be a little bit of a gap, but the government also at the moment is looking at making sure that simplification, because that's the priority both of the state governments as well as the central government. So first that, and then the compensation. Rajdeep, this meeting will continue tomorrow also. We are hoping by tomorrow night we will have a compensation plan in place.
Right. Okay, so it could be the big breakthrough that we are looking forward to in GST reforms. But what does this really mean? What kind of a GST mechanism does the country really need? I want to go to one of my special guests. Joining me now is Dr. Montek Singh Aluwalia, former Deputy Chairperson of the Planning Commission, one of the architects of India's economic reforms. Dr. Aluwalia, do you see the potential for GST reforms at a time of Trump tariffs becoming a game changer? Dr. Aluwalia? Dr. Aluwalia, can you hear me? Okay, we're trying to get through to Dr. Aluwalia at the moment. Remember, Dr. Montek Singh Aluwalia, as I said, has been one of the architects of economic reforms in the country. Someone who's spent a lifetime really looking at the state of the economy. Former Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission. He's been Finance Secretary. He was part of what was then dubbed as Dr. Manmohan Singh's dream team that looked at how to really take India out of the slow growth trap, the 1991 reforms. And many believe that GST, which was brought in by the Narendra Modi government in 2016, was a major transformation in indirect taxation in the country. The idea of creating a one tax, one nation regime. But over the years, because of differential slabs, there have been question marks over GST, both on compliance issues, both on how do you simplify the tax. And at a moment like this, when the Trump tariffs have come in place, GST becomes very important, because how do you then in some way spur domestic demand? The hope, of course, and the Prime Minister announced this at his Independence Day speech, was that this would be part of a Diwali dhamaka. Now, against the backdrop of that, we've had a meeting like this. I want to go straight across to Montek Singh Aluwalia now. Dr. Aluwalia, how do you see this GST reforms that are likely to come in the next 24 to 48 hours? Can they be a game changer at a time when Trump tariffs have loomed large over the economy?
Well, what I've heard is that there will be a big reduction in rates across a large number of commodities. That's more or less what I think the Prime Minister had implied, because it's kind of a Diwali gift. And that will be welcomed by consumers, no doubt. But that's not a reform. I mean, if you want to reform the GST, then you have to address some of the structural deficiencies in the GST, which have been talked about for some time. It's difficult to judge what the GST Council is actually discussing. If it's just discussing a reduction in rates, that's fine. If the government can afford the loss of revenue, people will be happy. But if you're talking about reforms, then you need to talk about what's the structural change that constitutes a reform. There are lots of things that have to be done to the GST, but I have no idea whether that's what they're thinking of. Frankly, I think this raises a larger issue. There's a fault in the GST Council system. In the days when these matters went before Parliament, the Finance Minister in the budget speech would make some proposals, then these would be discussed both within Parliament and outside Parliament. Government would hear different points of view, and then they could take a view on modifying them in the light of discussions. These GST discussions are all behind the curtain. What is being proposed is not put forth in the public, so you just have to wait until the GST Council decides. And the problem is that once it's decided, that's final. Even in Parliament,
but they have all but Dr. Aluwalia,
I feel that
but the fact is all the finance ministers are present at this. May I just stop you for a moment to say that all the finance ministers are present at the meeting. There is generally a consensus that by and large GST has been a positive for the country. The idea that you could...
I've absolutely no doubt that the introduction of the GST has been a huge positive. It's also true that many people have felt that the GST that we've put in place is not an ideal one. I mean, remember, in terms of revenue, we have been getting less revenue than the previous peak as a percent of GDP. I think instead of 6.5%, it came down to about 5.6. But then we had a lot of cesses, which are outside the GST. If you include the cess, we've just about reached where we were just before the GST was introduced. Now, the idea of the GST was that it would promote compliance and lead to an increase in revenue as a share of GDP. That has not happened. Even if you include the cess realization, as a share of GDP, revenues are actually a little below what they were at their peak. Now, it's well known what needs to be done, and people have talked about it. I mean, they've said that we have too many rates. That's not at all what a GST does. A purist would say you should have just one rate, but people would concede that maybe you need two. And of course, you have a certain number of commodities exempted. Now, we at the moment have about 7 rates, including the low ones for jewelry. We are getting, according to the newspapers, we are going to get rid of the 12% rate and bring it down to everything in 12% will go down to, or most of it will go down to 5. That's a straight reduction of the rate. I don't know how much will actually go up to 18. It's not clear what we're going to do with the 28% rate. It's not clear what we're going to do with the cess. Is the cess going to continue? And there's a real issue there. The cess, in my view, is an aberration, because what it is doing is it is generating tax-related revenue which is not shared with the states. Now, half the problem that the states have is that the cess is not something that's shared with them. Now, all these things have to be looked at in a composite way, and I feel that the best thing would have been for whatever proposal, let's say, the Finance Ministry wants to take to the GST, should have gone forward as a sort of proposal. And then they hear all the finance ministers and the council takes a view. But that proposal should have been made public, so we know what is being proposed and we can talk about what the problems are.
Right.
Let me just give you one simple example. You know, if you reduce, let's say if you reduce the 15% rate down to 5, what will happen is that, yes, the rate will go down, but actually a lot of the input tax credit, which normally accrues when you're at 15, will no longer accrue, because at 5, the input tax credit is limited to the input tax credit only on goods and not on services and not on capital investment. So actually, these individuals who will end up with a lower, the producers, who will end up paying a lower tax, will also lose a lot of input tax credit. So I'm not sure the net what the effect is going to be. And I think that we need to consider this question. Are we willing to have 2 rates? Personally, I think 5% is too low a rate. I know it's very attractive, but you know, I would have thought if you wanted a single rate, probably what you should have done is have a 14% rate, which is 6% for the center, 6% for the states, and 2% for urban local bodies and local, the third level of government, because they don't get anything. And yet these urban local bodies lost a lot of revenue when the octroi was abolished. Now, that would be a real reform. If you don't want to have just one rate, then you can have 2. But I'm not sure whether that is even on the agenda at the moment. And I do think that the issue of cess needs to be addressed. I mean,
So
there
I
is
think,
no
I think
logic
you've given us,
in cess accounting
I think you've
for
given
a
us
rising percentage of revenue.
I think
and not
you've given
being
us,
shared with the
Dr.
states.
Aluwalia, an idea. You've given us an idea which I hope is going to be looked at. 6% for the states, 6% for the center, and 2% for urban local bodies. So you could have, in your view, a 14% rate. Very quickly, do you believe, though, that we will therefore either way have a better GST in place? And that's one of the learnings of the last 8 years since GST has been in place. Every government makes possible mistakes. Very quickly, I have a minute only on the show with you. Do you believe, therefore, that we are at least moving in the right direction, that there is now a wake-up call, that we cannot have such a complicated GST structure, which many believe has even led to corruption, with GST notices being sent by GST inspectors?
But that, let me say, that's not a wake-up call. That has been known for some time. All that we're doing at the moment is picking one of these rates and lowering it massively. I do feel that if we want to move towards a single rate structure, then what I've suggested, that is 6%, 6% and 2%, would be very good. You know, frankly, urbanization cannot be financed unless the urban local bodies get more revenue. And this is the best way of doing it. I will concede that maybe one rate may be too much.
Okay.
You can have a second rate. But at the moment, we seem to have too many.
Okay, let me leave it there. Let me leave it there, Montek Singh Aluwalia. I hope someone there in those meetings is listening to your voice of wisdom. We have far too many rates. The time has come to rationalize GST. Will that happen in the next 24 hours? We'll wait and see. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to turn from there to one of our newsmakers who's joining me tonight. Remember, my top story has been the unprecedented flooding in Punjab. The worst ever floods the state has suffered in decades. Thousands have been displaced. I'm now joined by Bhagwant Singh Maan, the Chief Minister of Punjab. Namaskar, Bhagwant Singh Maan ji, Sat Shri Akal. मैं आपसे एक ऐसे समय पर बात कर रहा हूं जहां इतनी बड़ी त्रासदी हुई है पंजाब में. क्या है आपका मैसेज भारत के लिए जब हम ये कल से देख रहे हैं जो या 2-3 दिन से देख रहे हैं जो फ्लड्स हुए हैं पंजाब में, क्या कहेंगे आज आप?
थैंक यू राजदीप, पहले तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कि आपने मुझे अपने चैनल पे बोलने का मौका दिया. ये 1988 में हमारे फ्लड आए थे. ये उससे भी ज्यादा, मतलब हिस्ट्री में सबसे ज्यादा पानी आ रहा है पंजाब में. और अब इसका कुदरत है, कुदरत की मार को क्या करें. लेकिन मैं यही आपके जरिए कहना चाहता हूं, जब भी देश पर संकट आया तो पंजाब सामने आया. पंजाब देश के साथ खड़ा, चाहे वो अनाज की प्रॉब्लम आई तो हरी क्रांति के जरिए हमने देश के अनाज के भंडार भर दिए. जब देश को आजाद करवाना था तो सबसे ज्यादा कुर्बानियां पंजाब की, पंजाबियों की, सबसे ज्यादा फांसियां पंजाबियों को. अब पंजाब संकट में है तो मुझे लगता है कि देश को पंजाब के साथ खड़ना चाहिए, पंजाब का साथ देना चाहिए. और मैं यही बेनती कर सकता हूँ. और कुदरत की मार है.
आपके सामने सबसे बड़ी मान साहब, आपने बहुत बड़ी बात कही. आपने कहा पंजाब ने जब भी इस देश के सामने संकट आया है तो पंजाब के नागरिकों ने देश के सामने हमेशा सबसे अग्रसर रहे हैं. लेकिन सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या है? आज रिपोर्ट्स आ रही कि भाखड़ा नंगल डैम में भी पानी बढ़ता जा रहा है. अगर ये पानी रिलीज हो तो और आपके सामने परेशानियां आएगी. सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या है इस समय पंजाब सरकार के सामने?
देखिए, हमारे पास 3 मेन डैम है, रंजीत सागर, पौंग और भाखड़ा नंगल. तो अभी तक तो ठीक है, लेकिन भाखड़ा नंगल भी अगर मतलब भाखड़ा नंगल का जो डेंजर लेवल है वो 1680 मीटर है. वो 1677 पे पहुंच गया. मतलब 160-80 उसका डेंजरस लेवल है. एंड वो अभी 1677 पे पहुंच गया. तो 3 मीटर का ही फर्क रह गया. अगर हमें भाखड़ा नंगल को भी उसके गेट खोलने पड़ गए तो इसका मतलब सतलुज है. अभी तो ब्यास बहुत नुकसान कर रहा है. जो आप तस्वीरें अभी दिखा रहे हो, मैं देख रहा हूँ टीवी पे, वो ब्यास की हैं. अगर सतलुज में भी हमें पानी छोड़ना पड़ गया तो और ज्यादा संकट आ जाएगा. क्योंकि डैम को हम डैम की रक्षा तो करनी पड़ेगी. जी राजीव,
आपने प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी से बात भी की है. भगवंत मान जी जब प्रधानमंत्री वापस आए चीन से, उन्होंने आपसे बात की. उन्होंने मुआवजे के बारे में कहा है, जितना भी रिलीफ, however much relief पंजाब वांट, सेंटर सेज दे विल गिव. क्या अभी भी आप समझते हैं कि सरकार, केंद्र सरकार पूरी तरह से आपको साथ दे रही है या नहीं दे रही?
देखो, पीएम साहब का फोन आया था, थैंक यू वेरी मच कि उन्होंने फोन करके हालचाल पूछा. लेकिन मुआवजा तो राजदीप मैं तभी मांग सकता हूं ना जब ये पता चलेगा कि नुकसान कितना हुआ है। अभी तो नुकसान चल रहा है, अभी पानी कम होगा, उसके बाद फिर फसलों का नुकसान, हालांकि जानी नुकसान उतना नहीं हुआ, लोगों के पशु डंगरों का या घरों का नुकसान, ये तो बाद में पता चलेगा ना, जब पानी कम होगा ना। अभी मैं कैसे मुआवजा मांग सकता हूं?
जी,
लेकिन उन्होंने कहा है कि
पर कुछ लोगों ने कहा है भगवंत मान जी कि केवल ये नेचर की फ्यूरी नहीं है, कुछ लेवल पर मैनमेड भी है। जो इंक्रोचमेंट्स हुए हैं फ्लड प्लेन्स पर, जिस तरह से खुली छूट दी गई है कई लोगों को कि आप घर भी बांध दीजिए फ्लड प्लेन्स पर, ये सब, इन सब ने एक तरह से कंट्रीब्यूशन किया। क्या पंजाब तैयार था कि इस तरह की केवल नेचर फ्यूरी नहीं, केवल बारिश तो हुई है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं क्या पंजाब तैयार है इस तरह का की बड़ी त्रासदी को फेस करने के लिए? मैनमेड ट्रेजेडी भी है।
मैं सेंटर के पास जाऊंगा। डीसिल्टिंग की हमें इजाजत ही नहीं है, वो सेंटर करता है। अब डीसिल्टिंग को वो माइनिंग मानते हैं। दैट इज नॉट ए माइनिंग। अब दरिया से मिट्टी निकालने में क्या हर्ज है? अब दरिया जो है वो मिट्टी से भर गए, अब इतना ज्यादा पानी आ गया। लोग यही कह रहे हैं कि जी हमें अगर दरिया से मिट्टी निकल जाए तो ये हाल नहीं होता अगर दरिया से मिट्टी निकल। अब डीसिल्टिंग जो है वो सेंटर के हाथ में। मैं बात करूंगा, मैं सेंटर से बात करूंगा कि हमें अलाउ कीजिए प्लीज, कि डीसिल्टिंग करने दीजिए हमें अपने दरियाओं की। तो अगर अलाउ कर दे सेंटर हमें, तो शायद ये प्रॉब्लम ना आए।
आखिर में मैं मान जी आपसे पूछूंगा, आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार है, दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम, एक तरह से आप भी फर्स्ट टाइम चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं। आपके लिए ये जो हुआ है पंजाब में पिछले कुछ दिनों से, क्या आप समझते हैं आपके राजनीतिक जीवन का ये अब सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है कि पंजाब को एक बार फिर आपको खड़ा करना पड़ेगा? जिस तरह से खास करके एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में जो तबाही हुई है बिकॉज ऑफ द फ्लड्स, क्या आपके राजनीतिक करियर का अब ये सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है? 1.5 साल में चुनाव भी होने हैं पंजाब में।
राजदीप जी, पंजाब बहुत बार गिरा है, लेकिन पंजाब उठा भी है। हर मुसीबत पंजाब ने झेली है। कोई बात नहीं, पंजाब में अगर ऐसा हो गया हम झेल लेंगे, कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है। पंजाबी तो अगर तुर्की में भी बाढ़ आ जाए, कहीं भी कुछ हो जाए, तो पंजाबी लंगर लगा लेते हैं पहले। अभी भी बहुत से पंजाबी, मैं उनका धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि ट्रालियां लेके, राशन लेके वो चल पड़े हैं जहां बाढ़ ग्रस्त एरिया है। लेकिन अब कुदरत की मार है, इसका तो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते। अब कुदरत के सामने किसका जोर है? पानी ऊपर से आ रहा है, 3 लाख क्यूसिक वाटर एक दिन में सिर्फ भाखड़ा नंगल में आ रहा है। 3 लाख क्यूसिक तो ऊपर से आ रहा है। मैं उनको भी कुछ नहीं कह सकता कि आप रोकिए, उनका भी वो कैसे रोक सकते हैं? लेकिन ये तो कुदरत है जी, क्या करें इसका।
यानी ऊपर से, यानी हिमाचल प्रदेश से, जब आप ऊपर से कहते हैं इसका मतलब है हिमाचल प्रदेश से जो पानी आ रहा है
से आ रहा है। लेकिन मैं उनको थोड़ी कह सकता हूँ कि आप रोकिए, वो कैसे रोक सकते हैं? वो भी नहीं रोक सकते। तो चलिए क्या कर सकते हैं अब इसका। लेकिन हाँ, बस दुआएं अरदास करो बस
जी। सर मैं बस इतना ही कहना चाहता हूं, देश की दुआएं आपके साथ है, पंजाब की जनता के साथ है। जैसे आपने इस इंटरव्यू के शुरुआत में कहा, पंजाब ने कई बलिदान दिए हैं देश के लिए। मैं आपको अश्योरेंस देता हूं कि पंजाब की जनता तो है, दुनिया के पंजाबी भी आ रहे हैं और कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं। or I will request on behalf of the channel, I hope that number of you will contribute to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund and ensure that the people of Punjab are up and about again. They have that spirit. They will fight this as they have fought so many other tragedies in the past. Bhagwant मान जी, आप बहुत ही व्यस्त थे, इसके बावजूद आप हमारे शो पर आए, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. Bhagwant मान, the Chief Minister of Punjab, there joining us here on the news today on a day when Punjab floods are the top story. I want to turn from there to our political face-off of the day, a very contentious issue. Yesterday, remember, the Delhi High Court denied bail to the activists who have been charged for their alleged role in the Delhi riots 2020 conspiracy. Two of the primary figures, Umar Khalid, the JNU scholar, and Sharjeel Imam, were denied bail. They've been in jail for the last 5 years, along with several others. All of them were denied bail. The court observing that the role in their 2020 Delhi riots conspiracy case was prima facie grave. The court said that the role assigned to Khalid and Imam by the prosecution cannot be lightly brushed aside. On the other hand, there are critics of the Delhi High Court order who are saying surely bail is the rule and jail the exception. The trial also has not begun, and both Sharjeel and Umar Khalid have already spent 5 years in jail. How does one look at this? Is this the right to protest which is leading to them being branded as terrorists in some way and charged under UAPA? Or is this, as the court seemed to suggest or the prosecution claims, a case of national security and therefore cannot be treated as an ordinary bail case? Two sides to that story. Satyapal Jain, Additional Solicitor General, is joining us, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. Also joining me is Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. I want to come to you, Satyapal Jain, first. The general principle in this country is bail and not jail. Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam and others have already spent 5 years in jail without even a basic trial beginning. Is that not a miscarriage of justice?
Let's understand the total working of the criminal system. I do not agree at all that simply because they have been denied bail by two courts. First, the special judge, who is at the level of the district judge, and their appeals have been dismissed by the High Court. Does it mean that no law has been violated? There is no right to protest. If you see the order passed by the High Court today, which is a very detailed order, you have read 2, 3, 4 sentences, Mr. Rajdeep, from the judgment. The court has discussed each and everything, all arguments raised by both the sides. I do not agree that bail is the rule and jail is the exception. If you accept that, then everybody should come out of on bail. Nobody should be in jail. Why should have lakhs and lakhs of people who are there in jail? These are the general principles. Criminal cases, maybe bail, maybe conviction, maybe parole, they go on the facts of each and every case. And let's not forget, it is the courts, two courts, which have denied them the bail. First the district judge, special court, then the High Court. And they have given detailed reason for that purpose. If you go through the judgment, each and every argument has been discussed. There are very serious allegations against them. Allegation of IPC, Prevention of Damage to the Public Property Act, Arms Act, Unlawful Activities Act, and so many things which I will not like to read because that may take a lot of time. The judgment is a well-reasoned judgment. Judicial process gives you inherent power. First, they dismiss the special judge, they come to High Court. Now, if they feel that High Court has not done justice to them, if they are of that opinion, they have every right to go to Supreme Court. I don't think there is anything we can attribute motive either to the court or to anybody else. It's a detailed order which, according to me, to my knowledge of the criminal law, it's a perfectly valid order.
The same, let Sanjay Hegde respond to Satyapal Jain's initial remarks. Sanjay Hegde, according to Satyapal Jain, this is a detailed, well-reasoned order. Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam have gone to other lower courts as well for bail in the past, and their applications have been denied. In the Umar Khalid's case, he even withdrew his bail application from the Supreme Court. How do you respond to what you've just heard, that this, according to Satyapal Jain, there is no politics involved here? They have gone strictly by the law.
Well, men and women of the law do know that you can write a detailed judgment and still be wrong. That is why we have appellate courts and we have larger benches. Now, the point here is bail has been denied on a technical reading of the UAPA, the sections granting which govern bail. The UAPA has a section which says that the judge must prima facie be satisfied that you are not guilty of the offense, and it also says that you are unlikely to repeat it again. Now, that section was interpreted by the Supreme Court in a case from J&K called Vatali. Vatali sort of closed the door on interpretation, made it so strict that bail was almost impossible to get. That was in 2019. 2021, the Supreme Court watered down Vatali. What the Delhi High Court has done is to go by Vatali, which is a 2019 judgment, and say that the 2021 judgment is distinguishable on facts. Then, as far as the merits of the case goes, the court has simply not said that we cannot get into it because we cannot conduct a mini trial at this stage of granting bail. What the court has basically done is to turn a Nelson's eye to the long period of incarceration. It is also to the fact that others have got bail, and has simply agreed with the prosecution that this is a matter of national security. Now, you can be secure in the peace of the graveyard, but the noisy discourse of the public square cannot be chilled by simply putting people in jail and throwing away the key.
Okay, you're saying the long period of incarceration, of being in jail for 5 years without even a trial starting, should have been reason enough to grant them bail. Satyapal Jain, respond to that, because that is really those who are saying that Umar, Khalid and Sharjeel Imam should be released are saying, look, are they flight risks? Can they tamper with the case? Why should they be denied bail in a case like this, which for 5 years has not even reached the trial stage yet? Others who have been similarly charged in the same case have been granted bail. And there is still no direct evidence of the specific role of an Umar Khalid, for example, in the Delhi riots conspiracy. There is a charge sheet, but even the trial has not begun. Why not allow them bail till the trial starts?
See,
they are not terrorists. Are you calling them terrorists just simply because they have been charged under UAPA?
Let's be clear about two things. Number one, first, the issue of long custody or how much time have you spent in jail during trial or otherwise is one of the factors which have to be taken into consideration. This is not the only factor that since there is a long custody, so therefore you should be granted bail. This is one of the considerations. Number two, the power to assess the facts, law, arguments is not either with me or Mr. Sanjay Hegde or with you. This power has been given by the Constitution to the courts. And the present case, it is two courts. First the special judge and then the High Court, which has recorded reasons why the bail should not be granted. It's wrong. I'm not saying simply because you have not been given the bail, somebody may say that he's a terrorist. No. All that trial will prove ultimately.
So how often do special courts, sir, how often do special courts and high courts grant bail in a UAPA case? Isn't part of the, how often do you see special courts or high courts granting bail in UAPA case? It means I arrest you under UAPA, you remain in jail even as the trial will take years.
See, all the special acts, maybe PMLA, maybe SFI, maybe Unlawful Prevention Act, they have been enacted by Parliament. They have not been enacted by any particular government. They have been enacted by the Parliament of India. And Parliament of India has laid down certain conditions, keeping in view the gravity of the situation and the situation where the law has to be applied. So when it is the law of the land, the courts are applying the law of the land and they are passing the detailed order. And if they are aggrieved, they have a right to go to Supreme Court. He rightly said there is a remedy of appeal. But we cannot say that simply because it's not to my liking. Therefore, I say, no, this should not have been done, that should not have been done. That is the discretion of the judicial officer. Both are judicial officers.
Okay.
The third was also judicial officer. If you are not satisfied, go to Supreme Court. Supreme Court has in many cases been reversing the order passed by the trial courts.
But as a result, a person spends years in jail. Sanjay Hegde, a final word on that eventually there is the Supreme Court, and therefore both Sharjeel and Umar, Khalid and others will have to try their luck in a Supreme Court. To attribute political motives at this stage, according to Satyapal Jain, would be unfair. That this case, because it's politically sensitive, hence they are put in jail.
Who's attributing political motives? We are only speaking of the lack of proportionality and the overdose of punishment. You see, I too had been a prosecutor. And when I used to appear before Justice Katju, if I over-argued on behalf of the prosecution, he would remind me that the prosecutor's duty is to the court to be absolutely fair. And he would just tell me in Hindi, "Bache ki jaan loge kya?" So this is exactly what has happened. You may have started on a prosecution which you did not know where it would culminate. You wrote a 3,000-page charge sheet. You've got 400 odd witnesses. You can't say that I will lock you up till the cows come home and till your trial is completed. This case is now an international cause célèbre. We are being judged on what our courts deliver.
Okay.
And we do not judge the judges alone. We judge the bar as well.
See, I like to tell
I
Mr.
want to
Sanjay
give it there,
Hegde,
Sanjay Hegde,
Article 14 is
and,
not available
Satyapal.
in the criminal matters.
Yes.
Article 14 is not available in criminal matters. Whether to grant bail to one or deny to other is the judicial discretion, which has been exercised in a very judicial manner. And if you are aggrieved, go to the Supreme Court.
Sir, no
Ultimately,
one
you
is
have to have
denying.
faith in the
Sir,
court.
no one. Okay, no. Okay, let me leave it there. Satyapal Jain, Sanjay Hegde, for joining me on that contentious issue, which we will continue to look at. An issue which is in some way swept aside. Most primetime TV will not discuss the contentious issues of the time. We will do that here on the News Today. On the News Today now, we are getting more breaking news. We've got the very latest on that big GST Council meeting that we were referring to at the start of the show. Sources now saying all GST slabs have been approved. Only 5% and 18% GST slabs to stay. We still don't know what happens to sin goods, which are supposedly going to be charged at 40%. But all GST announcements to be implemented from the 22nd of September is what we are gathering. Karishma Asudani from Business Today TV is joining me. Karishma, is it only going to be 5%, 18%, nothing like 40%, or sin goods will be at 40%? A bulk of the goods now will be 5 and 18%, just two slabs. Has there been a consensus on that?
Rajdeep, bang on, it's going to be 5 and 18% of indirect tax regime in the country just about from 15 days from now, and a 40% of a special tax that will go on sin goods, luxury goods, that is demerit goods like cigarettes, tobacco and pan masala. Centre's proposal, which came in as a surprise announcement on India's Independence Day by Prime Minister Modi, has been adopted by all the state finance ministers today. I will not shy away from sharing that a lot of state finance ministers were apprehensive of the fact that how will the revenue loss of which could be more than about 50,000 crore be compensated. But today when I saw a lot of smiling faces come out of this meeting, it looks like they're happy with the discussions with the centre after, of course, a lot of negotiations. It's to watch out what has centre promised them for this consensus.
But what about that compensation question? How will the states be compensated for potential revenue losses? Has that been discussed, or will that be done on the second day? We are told Nirmala Sitharaman could even be having a briefing later tonight.
Yes, absolutely. There is going to be a meeting in next 20 minutes from now by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. How the states have been compensated is something that will officially come out in the press briefing. But I did have an opportunity to speak to a few finance ministers, including from the opposition states like Karnataka, Kerala, and most of them have shared that, and Bengal, and most of them have shared that they are satisfied with what has been offered to them. And this probably could be on the fact that there is an additional levy instead of compensation cess that the government could apply on certain goods, which will be for the sin or demerit goods, which will be above 40%, which could actually help in decrease the gap of the revenue loss.
Right. Okay, we'll wait and see, Karishma, what the finance minister has to say in a few minutes from now, but appreciate your joining us. Okay, let me come and shift focus to tonight's Get Real India story, which comes from Indore's Maharaja Yashwantrao Hospital, the largest government health facility in the city. A few days ago, rats have been found roaming freely inside the neonatal ICU. Over the weekend, 2 infants were bitten by the rats, and guess what? Tragically, one of them has died. The hospital maintains that the rat bite is not the cause of the death. What's the story? Get Real India.
Free run for rats inside the neonatal ICU at the Maharaja Yashwantrao Hospital, the largest government health facility in Indore. 2 children in the NICU suffered rat bites on Saturday and Sunday. One of them died, but doctors claim the death was not caused by rat bite.
एक बच्चे को खरगोन से उनके माता पिता छोड़कर चले गए थे, जिसका हीमोग्लोबिन सिर्फ 5 था और वो बहुत ख़राब हालत में था, मृत जैसा ही था। उसका जो कारण है बच्चे की मौत का, उसका वजन 1 किलो 200 ग्राम था। उसका कारण है सेप्टिसीमिया, इन्फेक्शन होना। चूहे का बाइट बहुत छोटा था, ये उसका वो कारण नहीं है।
Hospital authorities have cracked down even as the video from the NICU went viral.
कमेटी ने जांच में रिपोर्ट दी और तुरंत कार्रवाई की गई, जिस कार्रवाई के तहत जो उपस्थित रात में जो नर्सेस उपस्थित थीं, जिनकी ड्यूटी थी, उन्हें 2 नर्सेस को तत्काल प्रभाव से निलंबित किया गया है और एजाइल कंपनी पर 1 लाख का जुर्माना लगाया गया है, जो कि पेस्ट कंट्रोल का काम करती है।
समय समय पे हम लोग इसके लिए मेजरमेंट लेते रहते हैं। हर 10-15 दिन के भीतर पेस्ट कंट्रोल कराते हैं, फ्यूमिगेशन कराते हैं, चूहे की दवाई रखवाते हैं। और अभी चूंकि बारिश ज्यादा हो गई है तो उसके कारण भी ये चूहे बाहर से निकल के और वहां आ रहे हैं। बाकी वार्ड में ऐसी नहीं है।
A high-power committee of doctors have been formed to investigate the incident of rat bites. The panel will submit its report within a week. With Dharmender Kumar Sharma, Bureau Report, India Today.
From that troubling story in Indore, let's end today with a happy story, a good news today story. From modest beginnings in rural Bihar to leading an eco-enterprise. That's the story of Satyam Sundaram, who saw bamboo as an untapped alternative to plastic. Since its inauguration in May 2022, Manipuri bamboo architecture now crafts 300 bamboo products which are sold across 25 states. Take a look.
Satyam Sundaram, an MBA graduate from Purnia, has chosen an unusual path, one that is deeply rooted in tradition, sustainability and innovation. After failing to land a job, he turned adversity into opportunity and started working on bamboo products.
कोरोना काल टाइम में हम MBA कर रहे थे, तो ये ड्रास्टिक चेंज इन्वायरमेंट में भी आया और बहुतों के सोच में भी आया। तो वही सोच के बदौलत अपने आप को इको फ्रेंडली प्रोडक्ट्स में कन्वर्ट कर पाए चीज़ों को।
Today, Satyam has designed more than 200 bamboo products.
ग्रीन गोल्ड कहलाता है। जो भी फार्मर अभी अगर बांस की खेती करते हैं तो उनके लिए लाभदायक रहेगा। बैम्बू बहुत अच्छा प्रोडक्ट है, बैम्बू प्रोडक्ट्स भी बहुत अच्छे हैं।
Satyam's bamboo mission started with the help of only 2 people on the roadside. Now it provides employment to many.
जो लोग सूफ सुफ्ती पे डिपेंडेंट थे, आज वो लोग बोतल बना रहे हैं, कप बना रहे हैं, पेन स्टैंड बना रहे हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारे अंदर ये भी इच्छा थी कि हम भी विकसित हों और साथ ही साथ हमारा समाज भी विकसित हो।
3-4 महीने मुझे थोड़ा कठिन हुआ सीखने में। सर हमको ट्रेनिंग दिए बहुत अच्छी तरीके से, जो मुझे 4 महीने के अंदर में काम सिखा दिए। अभी मुझे मैक्सिमम 2 साल होने चला और अच्छा इनकम भी कर रहे हैं सर के थ्रू।
Sundaram also provides training to artisans in an initiative supported by the Bihar government. With Smita Kumar, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, that's all that we could pack in on the news today. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.